Do you feel the pressure to grow your business, but doing so feels a bit like drowning? Welcome to Slow Growth Business, the show for business owners and leaders to quiet the noise and lead your business to success, one day at a time, slow and steady. If you feel your business is running you and you're ready to run it, you've come to the right place. Now, here are your hosts, business coaches Jimmy DeGroot and me, Kyle Bullock.
All right, Kyle, it's my topic this week. And when we were in Schaumburg, Illinois, a couple weeks ago, I talked about the book Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidara. And Will ran one of the finest restaurants, in fact, voted as the finest restaurant in the world. I don't remember what year it was, but it was 11 Madison Park. And what he did was he broke the mold for how restaurants were run and rated and all kinds of things, because what he did is he brought hospitality to the restaurant business, where it used to be all about the cook, all about the food, treat the help like trash, who cares about you? It was, and really, really, who cares about the customer? It's all about this amazing thing that I've created. And Will broke the mold on that because he said, hey, I'm from the hospitality business. Let's treat the staff great. Let's treat the people, give them an unforgettable experience like never before. And then, and then what he did was he created a camera mount that was so stable that you never had to get up out of your chair. No, he didn't. He didn't. Laptops. Anyhow, so he broke the mold on this, and he did it in ways that were not stuffy and pretentious. As a matter of fact, he wanted to work at Shake Shack because he loved the business model and he loved the casualness of it and the approachability of it. And
No,
anyway,
I didn't know that. He wanted the top chef. He was a chef, right?
right?
Will Guidara?
Oh, no. Will Guidara was not a chef. He was in the hospitality business.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
just gotta say, it's interesting that he picked up this exciting thing from Shake Shack, a fast food burger joint.
Yeah.
Inspiration coming from like an unexpected place. We'll put a pin
Yeah.
in it, but continue. Anyways, I just
We'll
thought that
put a
was
pin. Well, he kind of wanted to marry the two, ultra fine dining with casual Shake Shack kind of mentality, because that was all about the customer. What I'm getting at is this: what he started implementing, rather than people coming from the fine dining industry to hire at 11 Madison Park, he he loved people that loved people. And so he hired attitude, he hired personality over knowledge all day long. And one of the things that I want to start doing in our training and working with jewelers and customers is I want to start implementing a a way of, if you're looking for that perfect manager or that perfect operator to run the business while you're not there, or maybe while you're there, stop looking for that perfect person and start giving it out, right? Start assigning it. I don't care who it is, somebody that can be, somebody that can do a task, do it well, and develop that person right from within your team. So I don't know how to even describe what the topic would be for today, but the thing is this: you and I have to move past going out seeking that perfect, this is going to be my manager, this is going to take my store to the next level. I think we stop that. I think we
Hmm.
start looking within our teams. Hey, you know what? Tina comes in on time, before time, every single day. She's as reliable as the day is long. She's kind. She's got a great heart for customers. You know what? Let's give her this task. Let's ask her with this. So let's let's chat a little bit about, maybe some of the things that you guys have done at Bullock's Jewelry, to, you know, to put people in a place of leadership, put people in a place of taking your business to the next level, that have maybe come from within or unusual places.
I love that. I love the name of his book so much. So maybe that's the podcast idea this week is setting unrealistic or unreasonable. So that
Yeah.
was the word he uses.
Yeah.
Setting unreasonable expectations.
Hmm.
And I think it's unreasonable or unattainable to go out and find the perfect person that you're going to somehow bring in and then they, change your organization for the better. Because
Yeah. Which I've
organizations
which I've never seen work.
that
I've never
never,
seen
never. Well, maybe with this exception in that you went out finding a succession or a successor to the business
Hmm.
and, you know, gave them the business,
Right. Right.
which is kind of the same thing, right? Where you're giving the business over. But even in that, you and I can speak to the fact that it's very rare, if ever, I've ever seen a business that was just sold to another person or given into leadership another person, um, like described like that, where they came in and they start making, they start
Yeah.
leading because the
Yeah.
owners has this sort of, perpetual hold and no desire to change.
Right.
There,
Right.
there's reluctancy there, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
none of that really gets fixed. You don't find some magic person who comes to save the day, and you don't change your team from within unless you have a desire to set unreasonable expectations of
Hmm.
yourself and of each other,
Right.
right? Because as a
Yep.
leader, you know, you're the one who sets the tone and you're the one who sets the goals and you're the one who sets the expectations. And if all of those things are like, we're going to keep doing what we've been doing, well, then it doesn't matter what you change, it's what's going to keep happening.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
same. So,
Yep. I find too, and you and I encounter this more often than not, is it's really difficult for store owners, especially, to start passing along little leadership things to people because, well, frankly, it takes time, it takes patience, it takes, uh, you know, just it takes that attention to detail for a moment or for a season that but again, once we do that, now we have freedom, but it takes a commitment to make that happen. I'll give you an example. In his book Unreasonable Hospitality, Will and his partner went to Per Se. Per Se was the like the finest restaurant in New York City, and they had an amazing meal, amazing service. They were just wowed everywhere they turned. But at the end of the meal, there was coffee service, and it was served. It was automatic drip coffee, like you get in every restaurant in the world. It's just drip coffee, and it was such a it was just such a letdown at the end of this amazing, incredible meal that it was topped up with this coffee. So what he did is they went back to 11 Madison Park, and they assigned this guy who was just passionate about coffee, just passionate. And he said, "You're going to make our coffee just out of this world." And so what they did is they turned it into an event where they serve it at the end of the meal and they prepare it right at the table for them. And they told a story about the beans and how amazing it was and just the complex world of coffee. What I'm getting at is they found a person on their team that was passionate about it, and they said, "You're the owner of our coffee service now," and they deemed it upon them, and I love that. I just love that idea of finding that person, you know, finding that
yeah.
person on your team that can take this task and make it greater than you can.
Yeah. The way you said that, I love that story, first of all. It's like one of my favorite stories from that. And, um, and the way that you just said that, you found somebody on the team who can and wants to do something better than you can do it.
Hmm.
That's the secret of an amazing organization is finding people who are going to be better at you than at something and want to do it. And you don't always get to dictate what they're good at. you can,
Right.
that's really tough to recruit, especially in small companies like the ones we're speaking to. If you're in a big corporation, you have more specific needs and more resources to go out finding very specific kinds of talent or people, you're looking for someone who's good at something. But you're in a small business, you can't really do that easily, if at all. So you kind of get
Right.
what you get. And
Yeah.
you
You
look
got
at the
four
people,
people there.
right? And the four of you are like, you know, well, what are we good at? What are the four of us, each uniquely, insanely talented or interested in doing?
Hmm.
So you asked about how can our listeners be inspired to do this in their organizations, and I was thinking of two examples with our clients right now that I want to share. That was kind of exactly what you described with 11 Park Avenue. It was and in both of these stories, it is a person who is excited about doing the thing, doing the task with excellence, of like way above and beyond.
Yeah. Yeah.
And two, it's insanely specific. So as I'm telling you these two stories real quick, they'll be brief. The people who are listening, you can't copy them because it came down to a person doing it with a specific flavor that
Sure.
they're great at, and you can't copy them because they
It's not
are
theirs. It's
it's
not
yes,
yours.
right.
Right.
The first is I'm thinking of a salesperson or two that we've coached that loves watches,
Hmm.
loves them. Okay,
Yeah. Yep.
and one right now that we're coaching, who's new to the industry and has really taken a liking to watches. And we've got no lost love in the industry for watches. It's not our particularly most exciting category, but
Right.
what sets these people apart who are doing this is that they took over the watch category in their store and they made it something very special and unique. Their
Hmm.
their turn for watches is off the charts. They're killing it. They're getting great margins because the service they provide is truly exceptional. And,
Yeah.
and when we've talked to them and coached them, when they sell us in role playing a watch, we've sat there and gone, even I want that. That was
Hmm.
exciting and it was a memorable experience that we could walk away with a story from going, that was
Yeah.
amazing. But to their credit, the owners of these stores that I'm thinking of have caught on that these people love this category so much that they said, okay, if you like the category, we're not going to have you sitting over here selling, Boulevards and Citizens all day. You've got to sell the high end stuff. We're going to set an unreasonable expectation of
Yeah.
excellence in this category, and
Yeah.
it's all yours, baby. Have at it. And we're going to give you
Yeah.
training and resources. And these guys just excelled. The,
Yeah.
the other story I got to point out real quick, and just another same thing, different situation, is a client of ours that we said, we looked at the numbers, how can we grow the business, and we determined that it'd be really an appropriate time to do a customer appreciation outreach. And so we say, this is kind of a model of what we've seen done. Here are some ideas. And we gave them the bare bones of how to do this as a system. That's what we do, is we help
Yep.
write recipes and give them the system. We give them to the people in the organizations and we coach them on now add your flavor.
Yep.
And I will say, and you've seen it too, Jimmy, this company and the person who's leading it has taken this to a next level where I was looking at what they put together for their appreciation and I went, I feel
Yeah.
embarrassed to roll out my my companies
Yeah.
because you've just shattered expectations with
Yeah.
how amazing you've done it. It is totally their flavor. It is
Yeah.
totally memorable. But okay, as I'm describing the watch guys and I'm describing this marketing effort of customer outreach, it came down to a person who loved the task. It came down to an unreasonable expectation that we're not just going to do the task, but we're going to do it to this nth degree that no one's ever seen before. And three, it was specific. It was very, very specific. Like your coffee example, the coffee example is a very specific, like you don't go to a fine dining restaurant expecting to have great coffee. But I guarantee you that when that thing gets rolled out and they do this big hullabaloo of a presentation, you're leaving going, my gosh, that was a phenomenal meal. And let me tell you the story about the coffee. It surprised me.
Right.
That
Yeah.
specificity and the talent that's given freedom to just raise the bar there, that sets amazing expectations, unreasonable expectations, and it creates memories for your
Yeah.
customers and for your people coming in that they go, that's what I want to talk about in my
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. Yeah. And there are so many examples in this book about now what you're talking about. And one example is where they took over, or he was in charge of the restaurant for the Met Museum and MoMA, I think it was called. Anyway, so it was a gelato stand, and so they sought the finest gelato possible. Okay, and what he did, he found a spoon that was so. And I have to have this spoon. And he said, and if you knew the price of this spoon, it would blow your mind. He said the spoon costs more than my product, everything. But they set a rule, and the rule was. I love another concept of this book, and this isn't to be a book review, but they talked about restaurant smart and business smart. And what he had to do is he had to marry that. That's what I love about what you and I are doing. We're marrying business smart with jewelry store smart. Okay. Um, but anyway, in the concept of restaurant smart and business smart, you act on behalf, or you act in the best interest of the business, but also the people, and where you cover your bases. So, business smart is being 95% perfect in your processes, in your buying, and in your efficiencies. And then 5% you could spend absolutely foolishly without abandon or with abandon. And so the spoons of this ice cream or this gelato was the 5% that you spent, but it was the thing that everybody went and talked about in the story. And when telling about the experience, and they keep the spoons and etc. But I gotta rein this in. I gotta rein this in because I'm so excited about this. But I would say find the person on your staff that's excited about that, whatever it is. And it's something, like I said earlier, you and I need to work on, and we need to inspire everybody else to work on in their stores. Is stop stop thinking of, I need to find this perfect person. They need to have a degree in accounting. They need to have this and this and this and experience in this. I would say find the person with the passion, or that at least shows promise, right? And start giving them something. Start giving away all of your busyness that you're not great at and that you don't like doing, that somebody in your organization can do so much better.
Yep.
I don't know if that has anything to do with spoons or coffee, but
It did, because again, the example that you say about these spoons that are unforgettable. I'm sitting here as a foodie thinking, I don't know where this place. I got to go find out what this spoon is. I don't even seen it. I don't know anything about it, but you just said it's an amazing spoon. I got to go find it. That is the stuff that makes us unique in our business. We tell in our presentations, we talk about it often. The way that you do business functionally is really not going to be all that unique or innovative.
right.
There's not that many ways to make profit. I mean, truthfully, functionally, there's inventory control, there's marketing, there's sales, there's some best practices in them. So we teach you the best practices and way you got to go. What makes you unique is you. What makes your company unique is your people. And that very specific, odd thing that you might think, oh, the spoons are no big deal, suddenly become a really, really big deal. Not because someone thought, oh, we're going to sell gelatos because of spoons, but because someone said, I love spoons so much, I'm going to sell gelatos with them. You see the difference? And I think you got to
Exactly.
look at your people, and instead of sometimes going, this is what I want and what the industry is normally doing, and this is what, you go, instead of looking at that, I'm going to look at what this person likes a lot
Yeah.
and then ask them, okay, if you could take ownership of this, how would you elevate it? What do you love about it so much? Right? Just start feeding and training them
Yeah.
to not just do what they do well, but to elevate it further, bigger, stronger. That
Yep.
would be okay. So I just see you on the screen here on my. Is this the spoon that you're talking about?
This is, yeah, I found Will Guidara and I'm following him on Instagram now.
Okay,
So I'm
so
hitting
for
follow.
all of our audio listeners, you can go on the YouTube channel and see this. But Jimmy pulled up a spoon that I think looks like a blue Swedish fish
Yeah.
that,
It's sort of
that I'm
looks like, yeah.
fascinated by.
Yep.
But this is the symbol of the stuff that it took a person to fall in love with and get excited about that.
Yeah.
And in your business, you are filled with people who are probably doing tasks today that they just got to do because it's their job. And they may feel impartial or indifferent to some of them, but they just got to do it because it's their job. Leave this podcast today and be wildly curious about which of those tasks do they love to do because they love to do it. And then start asking them, well, how would you do it better? If you could just take over the category, what would you do different? Start to feed that thing that they love so much. And you just are there to help guide the path towards profitability, to making it make sense, to marry the smart street sense with the business sense. But it's got to start with the person that you've got in front of you and feeding their desires, their interests. And don't be afraid if it's uber specific, because sometimes that's exactly what you need
Oh
for
yeah,
that
exactly.
marketing difference.
Yeah, folks, get this book. Just get this book, and I'd say go for a drive. Go for a long, long drive and listen to this book. It's phenomenal. And again, I loved listening to it this last weekend because it gave me so many ideas that you and I can use to help our customers. So we're fired up about that.
Love it.
All right, guys. Hey, you know what? We're gonna do another one of these right away. So we're gonna be dressed the same next week. All right. Hey, remember to subscribe to this podcast. A lot of our listeners aren't subscribed. It's very important that you subscribe so that you get notifications and even ring that little bell to get notifications when a new podcast drops. So we really appreciate that, and thanks for listening and all that all that other kind of nice stuff, right, Kyle?
That's right. Bye, everybody. See you next week.
See ya.